Yes, indeed. It was goody boxing heads and fight fans around the world. B. Marsh with another boxing video. So the man Jarrett Hurd, after this fight that Austin Trout and Jermell Charlo had this last weekend, he went on Twitter and he wrote something to the effect of, if Charlo fights me any which way like he did Trout, he's getting stopped. Hashtag keep running your mouth. And the man Javid Hurd also wrote on Twitter, and y'all really think at Twin Charlo, he added Jermell Charlo on Twitter, and y'all think at Twin Charlo could really beat me? So obviously the man's been paying attention, you know what I mean? And this is a good fight. And we only in June. I think this fight could be made before this year ends, you know what I mean? A unification fight. You know what I'm saying? It'll only be right if Al Heyman can get these two guys to come together and try come through to get a unification fight. You know what I mean? But one thing for sure, two things for certain. Both guys have said they want this fight. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of people out there, a lot of channels, and just who be talking some fake news out here. You know what I mean? None of these guys are scared to fight each other. Both guys are willing to get in the ring and unify. You know what I'm saying? Charlo has said he wants to do it. Charlo said, man, he wants to fight Hurd. When the man said, he said that man got two belts. So yeah, he trying to fight him. Same thing for Jarrett Hurd. You know what I mean? So that's a fight I'm looking forward to. But the reason that Hurd thinks that Trout now, I'm sorry, Jermell Charlo is gonna show some vulnerabilities is because he did a better job versus Austin Trout, and that's why I was very interested in that fight. A lot of people weren't, to be honest. Not, that fight didn't get a lot of traffic over here on YouTube, but that was a fight I was very interested in. You know what I mean? Because I really want to find out who's the best of the best at 154 pounds. You know what I mean? I personally think as of right now, you know, it's Jarrett Hurd. It's obvious, you know what I'm saying? The man Jarrett Hurd came into the division within 2 years, came from a prospect to a contender to a champion to a unified champ in about a year and a half, you know what I mean? So, that's a great accomplishment, you know what I mean? And that's one thing you can't take away from Hurd. This is a guy who is a unified champion, a division that hadn't been unified since Floyd beat Cannoli, you know what I'm saying, for that WBC title that Cannoli had, you know what I mean? You check it, Floyd came with his WBA, and truth be told, Floyd never really fought no uh, junior middleweights after that fight. You know what I'm saying? He probably fought the likes of Maidana twice and Berto and Pacquiao. You know, and one of those defenses, the second fight versus Maidana, the rematch, he included both the WBA and the WBC 154-pound title into the equation. You know what I mean? There was basically four belts on the title, including two lineal titles, one from the from the welterweight to the junior middleweight division. You know what I mean? Floyd put it all on the line in that fight, but again, that wasn't against a natural junior middleweight, and so basically, there wasn't no relevant unification fights or anything of that sort till the man Jarrett Hurd unified by beating Lara in 2018. And remember that Cannoli versus Floyd fight was in 2013. Yo, what's good, boxing fan? He's in the chat. Says what's up, B Marsh. What's happening, dogs? Just here, man. Just reiterating what the man Jarrett Hurd said on Twitter. You know what I mean? And it's a fact that he wants to fight. You know what I mean? But let some channels out here on YouTube say it. Yo, what's good? Dylan Gallagher, what's happening, man? I see you in the chat. But let some YouTube channels out here tell you. They'll say that Hurd is ducking Charlo. They were saying that before even Charlo fought Austin Trout. And my defense against that was, how could the man Jarrett Hurd be ducking Charlo when Trout when Charlo is fighting Hurd's leftovers and the man Austin Trout, you know what I mean? That's a guy that Jarrett Hurd already dispatched in 10 rounds, stopped him, the first man to stop him. You check it, so that's a nut ass logic right there, saying that Hurd is ducking Charlo. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention the guy Charlo's been a champion in that division from I believe 2016. We're in 2018. The guy's never unified. Lara been a champion in that division since like 2014. You know what I'm saying? You check it again. That was a division that he hadn't unified till 2018. That was his first unification fight. You know what I'm saying? Boxing fans in the chat, he says, I love Hurd pressure style fighting, but I think he should work on his defense. Yeah, he could definitely have more head movement, but if you pay attention to that fight he had versus Charlo, the man was in the shoulder roll. I say Charlo, excuse me, Lara. I mean, he put on his Philly shell defense, and he was giving the man angles where Lara couldn't even hit him, basically on the ropes, and it was prompt position for the man Jarrett Hurd to counterpunch, and he was unleashing them body shots when he had this angle, and he was in his Philly shell and had the man uh, Lara on the ropes, and he was making Lara miss because Lara was throwing shots to try to get him off the ropes to get him up off of him, but he was right there ducking shots, slipping shots off the shoulder roll, and counterpunching right back. Boxing fan says, I hope he fights Charlo, Munguia, or rematch Lara. Red Eyes is in the chat. What's happening, Red Eyes? He says all the belts were in the same camp, is why he didn't unify. Yeah, but Jermell Charlo, what is it? Jermell Charlo did get out of the camp of what's his name? What's his name? Ronnie Shields. He wasn't there anymore. And Lara, don't forget that Red Eyes. Lara said, "Yeah, I'll fight Charlo. I'll fight him." You know what I'm saying? He said he would have fought any of those guys, even when they were in the same camp. Them guys, Charlo has never ever uttered the words that he'd want to fight the man Lara. You know what I'm saying? But Lara said, "Yeah, we could do it." You know what I'm saying? We could fight. Boxing fan says, I saw Hurd first fight against Harrison. He always bring excitement with his fight style. Yes, indeed, he does, man. That guy's definitely a crowd pleaser. You know what I mean? The guy is a come forward fighter, pressure fighter. In some fights, he's taking some hits to the face. You know what I mean? But I think he's improving as he's coming along. You know what I mean? There was a point I was trying to make. Sometimes when I read these comments, I lose track a little bit. Yeah, and one thing, the man Jermell Charlo, you know what I'm saying, he's been knocking out some obscure opponents, which is okay because these guys were mandatories, you know what I mean? But when he got in there with a real prime operator in the man Austin Trout, the scorecards, it was a majority decision, but the scorecards were kind of off, you know what I mean? I did have it 7-5. I had Charlo winning 7-5 with two knockdowns, you know what I'm saying? So I had it 115 to 111, you know what I mean? So, on some of those judges' scorecards, basically, the the two knockdowns are the only reason why Charlo won that fight. I disagree with that. I'm not a biased fan. You know what I'm saying? I think Charlo won it clearly, but I had it 7-5. And then with Lara and Hurd, again, in that fight, I had that fight like 8 rounds to 4. You check it. I did, maybe 7-5, but it was clearly for the man Jarrett Hurd, and the man Jarrett Hurd had a knockdown in round 12. So basically, I think that was also a split decision victory. They were on their way to rob the man Jarrett Hurd in that fight if it wasn't for that knockdown. So and then a lot of people are not giving credit for that knockdown. You know what I'm saying, or putting it in the equation as that basically was the determining factor. Not on my scorecard, you check it, but as far as the judges, because like I said, if it wasn't for that knockdown, we probably would have had a draw, or Lara would have retained his title. You check it, or even gone out with both, which in my opinion was wrong because that fight it should have been a unanimous decision. To me, that fight was over from round 3. You check it, round one looked real bad for the man, Jarrett Hurd. You know what I mean? He was getting caught with punches, flush punches, and, he was didn't have his balance correct. You know what I mean? Looked like he was stumbling. But from round three, when I seen Lara just staying in the pocket and not using a lot of lateral movement, I knew it was a wrap. Kind of like when I watched Rigondeaux and Lomachenko, and I picked Rigondeaux to win that fight. But after round two, I was like, man, the guy Rigo's not the how I envisioned this fight going. As far as like my breakdown and prediction, it didn't go according to plan. And Ran Rigo wasn't using his legs. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't really on his pivot, or what I'm saying. So he was getting out jabbed by the man Lomachenko. So basically, that's how I felt with the Jarrett Hurd and the Lara fight. From round three, I knew this fight was a wrap, and I was comfortable. Hurd's gonna win this fight. You know what I mean? From round one, it ain't look good, but the man came through. Let me see what they saying in the chat. Dylan Gallagher says, I'm not betting against Hurd anymore. Red Eye says, after Hurd, Lara, Jermell said, God don't want us to fight talking about him and Lara. Yeah. And Lara didn't say none of that. He said, yeah, I'll fight them fellas. You know what I'm saying? And he was dead serious. He wants a piece of that action because he probably knows he could beat him because the guy sparred with these guys all day, every day in Ronnie Shields' gym. Boxing fan says, hopefully we will see more. Red Eye says, I agree. They were pushing all that American dream crap was going to be a robbery. Yeah, that was going to be real bad, dogs. And, it's funny how, to me, the judges are the judges, you know what I mean? They don't determine how I view a fight, you know what I'm saying? Because, judges have everybody, boxing is a subjective sport, you know what I mean? I just scored a fight with a clean heart, regardless of whom I picked, whom I bet money on, any of that, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to cheat myself. I don't cheat myself any other time, so why would I cheat myself judging a fight, you know what I mean? And that fight was not, that knockdown was to me not the determining factor. Even if there was no knockdown in that fight, I would have had a 7-5, or even maybe 8 rounds to 4. But in no way did Lara win that fight. So that's not a debate to me. You know what I mean? Lara didn't win that fight. You know what I mean? So, and I'm a fan of Lara. I've always been. You know what I mean? I've always been a fan of Lara since, I've been seeing him on ESPN. You know what I mean? ESPN Friday Night Fights. You check it. So, you know, I'm very curious to see what Jarrett Hurd's next move is. You know what I mean? Because he obviously fought earlier than Jermell Charlo did. You know what I'm saying? He fought in April, so his fight should be coming up sooner than Jermell Charlo, unless they decide we're gonna unify. And they both have a lot of time. Like I said, we're only in June. You know what I mean? Beginning of the summer. It's not even officially summer. We still in the spring. You know what I mean? Um, Summer starts on my birthday. So there's a lot of time for the man Charlo and Hurd to get in the negotiation room. You know what I mean? But there have been talks about Jarrett Hurd wanting to fight Kell Brook. You know what I mean? And I've also heard something else for Kell Brook, a fight between him and Gabe Rosado. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm not sure. Gabe Rosado's a guy who will fight anybody between 154 pounds and 168. He's willing, you know what I mean? He's a real Triple G. Remember when Triple G said he'll fight anybody between 154 and 168? Ward called his bluff. He ain't want to fight him, but he wants to fight Carl Froch at 172 pounds, So, you know what I mean? Gabe Rosado's the real Triple G when it comes to fighting anybody from 154 to 168 because he's proven it. He's done it. We've seen him in the ring in there, from guys from Triple G to what's his name, David Lemieux. You know what I'm saying? Even he wants to fight the winner of he wanted to fight James DeGale. You know what I'm saying? That's who he would like to fight. So, if Jarrett Hurd, I don't know if he's gonna be able to get Kell Brook. Kell Brook is ranked high in the WBC rankings at 154. So, I'm not sure, but I think Jarrett Hurd also might have some mandatories to fulfill with the IBF and the WBA, and more strictly the IBF, which been had a mandatory to fulfill, but he got a unification with Lara. So I'm pretty sure that 9 times out of 10 might be next. I'm not even too sure who his mandatory is at the moment. You know what I'm saying? But him and Charlo gotta get it in, man, by before the year ends. You know what I mean? There shouldn't be no next year thing. You know what I'm saying? That's something that the man Jermell Charlo should be pushing for. Hurd got 2 belts. He's the undeniable number one man in the division because he beat the number one man in the division in Arislandi Lara, and Lara was unquestionably for years since Floyd retired, definitely the best junior middleweight on the planet. You know what I mean? So we shall see, you know what I mean? But don't let nobody tell you these guys are ducking each other because these guys know what's at stake. And it's really Jarrett Hurd is really the A side. He's the A side. He's headlined the show with Lara. Jermell Charlo's never headlined the show at all. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't. I've seen a card with Jermell Charlo, Jamal Charlo, and Lara when all three of them were on the card, and Lara was the headliner, and Jermell Charlo fought John Jackson. He was the first fight on that card. You know what I mean? So it's definite who's the A side is. So the man Jermell Charlo should be trying to do anything in his power to get the man Jarrett Hurd in the ring. But I have no question that this fight shall happen. You know what I'm saying? And none of these guys are ducking each other. And it's stupid for anybody to say that Hurd is ducking Charlo when Hurd just basically lost some rounds and went got a majority decision versus Austin Trout. And like I said, I thought it should be a unanimous decision. But that it goes both ways. They were trying to do the same thing to Jarrett Hurd when he fought Arislandi Lara, trying to say the determining factor of him winning that fight was the knockdown. You know what I mean? So we shall see. Um, that's it, man. Be March Boxing. Let me know what y'all think about this unification fight happening and the man Jermell Charlo. Matter of fact, who do you guys think in the chat? Who do you think would win this fight? You know what I'm saying? I personally think that Hurd will. Hurd has fought the best of the best at 154. Only guy he hasn't fought yet is Jermell Charlo. You know what I mean? But as far as attributes and I think that the man Jarrett Hurd is good at cutting off the ring, very good at cutting off the ring, and I think that the man Jermell Charlo, his footwork is it's not the best. You know what I mean? It's not the best. You know what I'm saying? He's not a guy who has the best footwork. You know what I'm saying? You know, he could probably knock out more opponents if he had better footwork. You check it. You know what I'm saying? And probably gauge his distance, his range better. You know what I mean? Because there was a points in times when, like in I think round 7, where Austin Trout was just tagging him with that left hand. You know what I mean? And I think that the man Jarrett Hurd, he's obviously going to be the bigger guy, but I just think he's going to be able to take some shots. One thing he do got is a chin. You know what I'm saying? And he gets stronger down the stretch. And I just think he's going to overwhelm the guy, you know what I'm saying? With coming through with the combinations, the body punches, you know what I'm saying? Just keep coming forward. And he's going to have to make the man fight toe to toe. And that's what Arislandi Lara did. And that was detrimental because it actually cost him the fight. Austin Trout tried to do the same thing too. Fight him toe to toe at a time, you know what I'm saying? And he was also moving. But then the man gassed out and he couldn't move no more. And he had to stand in the pocket and fight the guy. And he got backed up on the ropes, got his head snapped back. You seen his hair all flying up, and he was getting tagged up. You know what I mean? Red Eye says, "Good fight. I think Charlo will rise to the occasion and make it a great fight. Different style than Trout. Yeah, different style than Trout, no question. This guy's not a southpaw. You know what I mean? But Jarrett Hurd, I think he can get it. I think he could win this fight. Charlo could win the fight too, you know what I mean? But he's gonna have to outbox this guy for 12 rounds, and I haven't seen nobody do that yet. And this guy, Erislandy Lara, is a master boxer, and he couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Tony Harrison was outboxing with my guy Jarrett Hurd for 7 rounds, and he eventually got stopped. You know, and the guy don't got no footwork, Jermell Charlo, like Erislandy Lara do. So he's gonna have to fight in the pocket, and I don't see nobody at 154 who want to do that and can do that with Jared Hurd. You know what I'm saying? And if Jared Hurd amplifies that Philly shell shoulder roll more often, you know what I'm saying? And he actually has it when he's not on the move. You know what I'm saying? When he's stationary. You know what I'm saying? When he's standing on, when he's flat-footed. You know what I'm saying? Because when he's coming forward, he got his high guard and he's walking opponents down. Red Eyes says, B Marsh, why did Lara stand there? I just think, to be honest, why Lara just wasn't stationary, it's just like Rigondeaux. Maybe his legs, they not as fresh as they were in 2013. You see, the man Jarrett Hurd and them, they went back to that fight with Angulo versus um, Erislandy Lara. And, the man, Erislandy Lara, he did both. He stood in the pocket with them, but he was on a lot of on his lateral movement, just like when he fought Canelo, you know what I mean? But maybe his legs are not as fresh as they were. But I also think it's just difficult to do that for 12 rounds, you know what I'm saying? To stick and move, pop that jab, and you know, you're gonna have to, at a point you're gonna have to be in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? Even Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler. Sugar Ray Leonard was doing a lot of movement, but there were points in time when he had to stand in the pocket and throw combinations. And there were points in times he was in the pocket with Marvin Hagler, and Marvin Hagler had him on the ropes, and he was just busting him up. So it's a boxing fight, and these things will happen. But I just think for some fighters, it's just difficult. And Lara is a very exceptional mover, but it's hard to do that for 12 rounds, man. It's hard. Even when you play the old fight night game, man. You can't be you could try to move for 12 rounds, but you're going to start seeing that power energy bar just draining. And you're not throwing no punches. You're just moving around, moving backwards. It's draining at a point in time, you know what I mean? Yeah, Red Eye says never seen him do that. He was in the pocket from round one. Yeah, and he was tagging the man Lara up. I'm seeing Hurd up in round one. And then he was there in round two, and he was in round three. He was just there, right in the pocket, you know what I'm saying? And he couldn't do that's when I knew this fight's over. You check it, so you know what I'm saying? So that's one thing we shall see if the man Jared Hurd, I'm sorry, Jermell Charlo, can do that for 12 rounds, you know what I'm saying? And does he have enough pop to keep a big Jared Hurd off of him? You know what I'm saying? We shall see. We shall see. It's up to Jared Hurd to improve his defense. And if he does that, then he's going to win this fight clearly, comprehensively. You know what I mean? All right, B Marsh Boxing about to seal the deal on this live stream. Big ups to Red Eyes coming through in the chat, boxing fan. Dylan Gallagher. Yeah, I want to give thanks. Thanks for coming through, everybody. Let me know who y'all think gonna win this fight, and let me know what you guys think about Jared Hurd's comments talking about, hey, if this guy fights me like Trout, he's gonna get stopped. Let me know what y'all think about that. B Marsh Boxing, I'm out. One.